Sushmita, how long has it been?
Like, we don't even want to tell everybody, but we kind of know each other for not
really
one, two, I don't know how many decades.
Years. I can't remember the last time we sat down like this for a chat, but I have to say, it feels like yesterday. It feels like yesterday because the love, the affection, the warmth that you give hasn't changed one bit.
I love you, man.
You're lovely. You know, you're still the warmest, kindest person that I know. I feel like people, as humans, we have this capacity to give love to those that are close to us, our friends, our families, people that we know, people that we care for. But I think that there's a small number of people, very small number of people that have this gift. It really is a gift where they're able to give love and spread happiness even to those that they don't know. I've seen it. I've seen it with you. You're one of those, Sushmita. You are absolutely one of those.
I hope so.
And
I mean, that sounds beautiful.
You had to be on this show, Women We Love.
Yeah, by the way, I love the name.
Thank you.
Women We Love.
Thank you. I felt like there were stories that we wanted to tell. I felt like this was an opportunity for me to re-meet in some cases just meet for the first time.
And just for everyone to know, he's waited rather long to get me
to do this,
do this, because he's disappeared from my life. He's just come back now with Women We Love. I'm so glad that this became a reason for us to meet.
You know, Sushmita, 25 years ago, almost around this week that year.
Yes, literally 2 days ago.
21st of May, 1994 is when you became Miss Universe.
Yes.
You were the first Indian to win that title, and I remember what a big deal it was.
Yes.
It was this massive moment, and there was that image. You know which one I'm talking about. Your response.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I've tried very many times on people's request to try and
do it.
Can't do it again.
But it was incredible, and that image is one of those enduring images. I feel like if it happened now, it would go viral.
Yeah. You know, it's a very, very beautiful thing you just said, because I kind of feel like I was cheated because of social media not being there, the internet not being there, that so much of that 1 year, not just the winning moment, but everything else that followed.
Came with it,
Oh my God, we missed out on so much.
Yeah, but it's there for posterity, it exists.
Yes, yes.
It was the moment that changed your life, didn't it?
You were 18. Absolutely.
You were only 18.
Absolutely. It's a moment that, you know, like my dad used to tell me growing up, there are these responsibilities you have in your lifetime. To your God, to your family, to your God yourself, your family, and your country. Of course, my dad's from the Air Force, so country was a very big
important
part of my growing up years. And so that moment at 18 made me kind of deliver on all accounts, to my God, to myself, to my parents, to my country. And that will always be remembered as a moment in my life which defined everything else that would follow. So a lot of people say I worked really hard for 20 years and I got here, and what God did with me was give it to me first. And say, now you go learn.
Correct.
And you know, I'm telling you, it's harder to learn this way. Because at 18 you're expected to know everything.
But you had such poise. You spoke so well. You were so confident.
Yeah, I think God prepares you. I think when you are moving towards your destiny, you're given those gifts. You just have to then chisel them, you know, give it shape and contour. But yeah, you're born with certain gifts if you're headed that way.
You know, here's a story that I read, and I'm not sure a lot of people know, so I want you to confirm it. Apparently, a couple of days before you were meant to leave for Miss Universe, you lost your passport.
Oh yeah, how do you know about this?
I feel like someone told me this story.
Okay, no, correction. I'm glad you asked it. No, I didn't lose it. It was given to Anupama Verma, then a very famous model, and she was also a coordinator for events. And she had my passport for a show in Bangladesh, and she needed it for some ID proofing. And so I very confidently told Miss India at that time, don't worry, my passport's safely with Anupama Verma. She couldn't find it. So she did take responsibility for it, and she said, I don't know what I've done, but the timing of it was scary. Because I had to then go crying to my dad. I said, I don't know what to do. And you see, my family wasn't from one of those well-connected networking people.
Who could make one call and
have
it all sorted out.
And I wasn't helped by the Times of India at all at that point to get
this
organized.
I heard that they actually told you,
you go for
Miss World, let Aishwarya go for Miss Universe.
That's correct.
And you cried. You were like,
no, I was not crying. I was
Okay.
very angry.
Okay.
Because, you know, when you win something, rightfully so, you're not requesting it.
Yeah.
So now we have to come together and ensure that this
It
gets
happens,
done.
yeah.
So it's easy to say, well, now we can't find it. The passport is lost. And so, you know, Miss World is in November. So you go later. We'll figure out your passport till then. I only cried in front of my father. And I said, Baba, I'm not going for anything else. I rightfully deserve to go for this. If I can't go, nobody else will go for it. You know, and that's it. So Baba said, let me see, beta, ami kake jani, who I know, let me try and see. And I will go on record to say that Mr. Rajesh Pilot gave him all the support to get that passport. And he went himself to say, look, she's representing our country.
Yeah.
So we got to aid this process
Correct.
instead of delay it. And you better believe it, I went for Miss Universe.
Right.
We know that now.
You know, I have to ask you about Aishwarya. The media sort of pitted the two of you
Well,
against
happens,
each other
right?
right from the start. She was the one that everyone knew
The
of.
favorite,
You were
the
hot
stunner,
favorite.
the conventional stunner.
You were the dark horse who kind of came in from the cold
Yes.
and completely surprised everyone. And then, of course,
I like the word underdog more than the dark.
correct. You're
horse.
right. You're right.
Okay.
It is the underdog. You're right.
Yeah.
Then, of course, you all both eventually became
Yeah,
movie
in the same
actresses
year,
In
man.
the same year.
Yeah.
It feels like there's been this sort of parallel journey almost.
Yeah,
Did-
we have, strangely.
Did that kind of create a sort of coldness? I feel like it's been years and now it can.
No, it was never, if you go back, luckily, social media and interviews by you and other people, at least on television, if you go back and retrace that journey, I have always been very warm towards
have,
her.
yes.
You know, the idea that I have ever been cold with her is
Right.
an absolute fallacy. Like, it doesn't exist. I cannot speak for Aishwarya because Aishwarya is a different person.
Right.
The way she approaches things is completely hers.
Right.
But there was absolutely zero cold vibes.
Would you call yourselves friends?
For that, we'd have to spend time enough. But we're definitely very cordial. I meet her often, even now after so many years. I see her now as a mom, and just our lives have evolved and so beautifully at that. You know, we were meant to be different people. We are different people.
You know, a few weeks ago on Instagram, you put up a picture of yours accompanied by the words of Tagore's famous poem, Ekla Chalo Re.
Yeah, Ekla Chalo Re, yes.
Which, of course, I feel like every Bengali child just
Yeah.
inherits that
Yeah.
when they're young.
Yeah.
You said it was something that inspired you a lot
A
growing up
lot.
and continues to inspire you. And as you said in the post, the literal translation is, if no one responds to your call, then walk your path alone.
Absolutely.
You know, it feels like you have, in fact, followed that to the T. You've done
I've tried.
You've led your life the way that you've wanted to.
Yeah.
Even if it was unconventional,
Yes.
even if it was, if there weren't many sort of supporters
Yeah.
on the way, and I think that nothing else sort of illustrates that better than when you chose at 24
Yes.
to be a single mom. You adopted Renee.
Yes.
Was that a hard decision? You said actually that the one thing that you've always wanted to be
Yeah.
growing up was a mother, which
Was
is
a mother.
so rare for a young girl, right?
Yeah,
That's what.
Yeah, I think I find it interesting, okay? Like, we girls grow up from the time that we can remember,
Yeah.
like that teenage, and with conditioning of society and even otherwise, we tend to grow up with dreams to be someone's wife, to get married in this beautiful wedding and to
Right.
have. And yet, biologically, the
Yeah.
one thing that we should be craving for, naturally, I
Correct.
think, is to be a mother. And ironically, I say biologically, even though I am not a biological mother.
True.
But that element, that ability to nurture life,
Right.
you're born with it, you know, and some men are too. That's why on Mother's Day, I never say Happy Mother's Day to all the women out there. I say Happy Mother's Day to all the nurturers out there, because honestly, I think that being a mother is a calling that should not be confused with having a baby.
Right.
They're two different things. And you know, if having a baby was enough, then I would never be the mother of my two Renee and Alisa. And yet they have two separate wombs that they came from.
Yeah.
But I am the mother. So, you know, I think it really is about that calling was clear to me from a young age, and I was lucky that like everything else in my life, I listened to it.
Right.
I didn't just put it behind and say, no, 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 you know what, this can wait and this can happen later. And when you decide to do something, then the universe conspires. I truly believe that.
You know, you said that you actually began speaking to Renee about adoption fairly early on.
Yes.
You actually told her that babies come from mommy's tummies, but you came from mommy's heart.
Yeah, so no, there was one little line to it. It was that we started playing opposites, right?
Yeah.
So in opposites, we started saying tall, short, big, long, all that. So
Correct.
then I said adopted and biological. So what are you? I am adopted. I go, yeah, that's right. And because, you know, biological is boring. Everybody's born from somebody's stomach, you know? I mean, why would you want that? You're special because you're born from the heart. And so she really loved to play that game and tell everybody, you biological? Oh, you're boring, you know? So yes, that's how I introduced the idea. I'm very lucky. Both times it worked like magic.
But you also told her that when she turned 18, which she did recently, because she voted recently.
That's right.
You actually told her that when you turn 18,
Yeah.
you can go to court.
Yes.
Open that envelope that
That's
contains
correct.
the names of your biological parents.
Yes.
And go seek them out if you choose to. And I will help
Absolutely.
you.
I told her that we don't know if they have a biological parent's name in there,
Right.
but there is information in that envelope which is only rightfully yours after you turn 18.
Right.
So I didn't want to give her the wrong information because I don't want her to go there and get her heart broken in case they don't have that information.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids, they don't have that information. But
Right.
I told her, I'll take you whenever you're ready, we must go. And we can. So she said, but why do you want me to go find out? So I said, I'm not saying go find, I'm saying
Right.
you have a right now that you are an adult
Yeah.
to go, and if you want to go, I'll take you. So she gave it like a moment's pause and all. She said, no, I really don't want to find out. I said, okay, great. Then if you do, let me know. I didn't tell her that at 18, actually. I told her that on her 16th birthday. That now in 2 years, this will come up.
Right.
So you can get excited if you want to know and all of that. By the time she was 18, she was just looking at me like, what's your problem? Why do you want me to do all these things? I don't want to know. So no, touch wood. But yeah, I still have this, I don't know, I think I will feel a lot more happy knowing that my daughter is secure enough to want to see it,
Yeah.
and she should see it.
Right.
You know, because there could be information in it that might help her.
Right.
You know, for any subconscious thoughts that might have lived with her. I have done my level best with both my kids for them to never suffer the feeling of rejection, because I knew that that is the one feeling they would probably be growing up subconsciously with, that someone rejected me. Even if I accepted,
Right.
but someone
Right.
rejected me. I have done my absolute best to ensure that hasn't happened, but you never know.
Sure.
So if you feel that I have that, and I'm comfortable finding out, you should exercise it, is the way I see it.
10 years ago, you brought Alisa
Oh, yeah.
into the house.
Yeah, she's an angel.
adopted Alisa. You said that you decided when Alisa came home to stop working. It was about 8 years ago that you decided that you wanted to be there for all
Yes.
her big moments, something
Yeah.
that you couldn't do during Renee's time.
Absolutely couldn't, and that bothered me.
Was that a big decision to sort of bow out?
You see, people are made differently.
Yeah.
In my case, when you realize that there are certain things that you can go back and do, you can retrace your time. I mean, I know that people say your best years are your youthful years, where you can do films and you look younger and you do whatever. And I asked myself, if I don't do films right now and I focus on this, will I regret it? And if I choose to not be with Alisa and go do films, which one would I regret more? And it was a no-brainer for me.
Right.
Because I realized that there's a lot of, it's not just seeing their first step or their first word or that I missed out for Renee. It's their personality development.
Sure.
It's knowing that,
Sort of shaping who they are,
shaping and to witness who they're becoming.
Right.
Yeah. I did not sponsor a child.
Yeah.
I
That's
became
true.
a mother.
Right.
There's a very big difference, and
Correct.
I thought that I have to keep making the money, I have to keep paying the bills, that's what I need to do.
Right.
So my approach to motherhood with Renee was more like a father.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the provider.
Right.
And I didn't have the time to be the provider and the nurturer because there was just so much work to do. I literally had her in a sack, and I had Chichi holding her on the sets, David Dhawan holding her, and God bless them. And I'm giving my shot. I'm working like that because I wanted to stay close to her the best I could.
Yeah.
So with Alisa, I knew I'm not going to do that. And if that means 6 years, next 6 years, I want to see her through her formative years.
Right.
After she turns 6, I can look back at working, and if films is done by them, so be it.
Sure. But
I get down to business, I'll do something else. But this I don't want to miss.
Were you getting the kind of films at the time that were making you happy, that made you want to go to work every day?
See, I did my last film in Hindi was No Problem.
Yeah.
Correct. And I had a blast working on that film, of course, because we had some fabulous creative people. I loved working with Anis Bazmi. I had just started to, I went, did a commercial, Main Hoon Na, and then followed it up with a not so commercial Chingari.
Yeah.
And then I did, in my career, I never took any one path.
Right.
So I'd just
You
come
mixed it all
back.
up, yeah.
I had just come back to doing commercial cinema. And I was having fun.
Yeah.
And well, truth be told, I always believed in doing everything I could for the film, but I never did associate my failures with a Friday.
You know, I'm so glad you said that, because there was once, and I want to say this, there was this moment once, and I think a few films had not worked.
Yeah.
And I think it was a magazine headline that said, Sushmita failed.
Yeah.
And you know what your response to that was?
Yeah.
Films failed. Sushmita didn't.
Yeah. Oh my God, look at him. God, what a deadly memory. Yeah, you cannot fail me for what I do. That attempt might fail.
Right.
But I am too big a idea for you to fit into a Friday slot. So I consciously was aware of that. No, I was happy with, and then when I took that break, the next round of scripts that started to come to me, even for me to read, were repulsive.
Sure.
They were terrible. And then I kind of joked and said, I must be getting older, because now I've got all these really crappy stuff coming my way. And some sections of my friends and industry bigwigs told me, doesn't matter, just stay in the game, do this. But it mattered to me. Having said which, given that now the world has exploded with different formats of telling stories, I am reconsidering the whole idea of I can do both also, because I've done a fabulous job of seeing my little one. She's going to be in grade 5, and from grade 6 she wants to move on and study abroad and go to a boarding school. And she's academically brilliant. So yeah, I'm going to have a lot of time to now.
You said I'm the new Stallone. If the industry doesn't write something that
I'll make my own Rocky.
I'll create it.
I'll make my own Rocky. I have no doubt about that.
Right.
So that apart, no, we're brainstorming with some really cool companies right now for both Netflix and for Amazon.
Nice.
And we're kind of creating content that I fit right into. And when I say I fit right into, remember I'm coming back as a newcomer.
Right.
You know, for me, it's no one can today say, oh, I loved her in that movie yesterday and I'd love for her to kind of stick to that. Because you've kind of forgotten everything.
True.
But I want to go on record to say this. I have the most loyal and the most loving fan following.
True.
It's this much or that much. They have consistently over the years waited for me to come back.
Right.
And I'd rather have that than they saying, you know what, I don't want to watch her again, man. I'm done watching her. So yeah, I have to do something to come back for them.
You know, you were very, very funny in BV number 1. You were very good in Samay.
Yes.
I thought you had some great fun in Maine Pyar Kyun Kiya.
I loved that movie, shooting that film, yes.
But the role that I loved the most,
and
I think most of your fans will agree to, was in Main Hoon Na. Where of course you played that gorgeous chemistry teacher, Chandni Chopra, to Shah Rukh's character. And the way that Farah actually shot you, you know, the hair
Farah
blowing,
is everything you
the
compliment
sari ka
me
pallu
for.
flying.
Even
But
the way the sari is tied.
right.
ये क्या लुंगी पहना रखी है उसको जाके change करो, change her, get her tied properly. You know that the whole look and feel, and I had 52 pins, man.
Right.
Because she made sure there was a blower fan at all times, so whether you're indoors, outdoors, doesn't matter where you are.
Right.
Her hair has to fly.
But you know, that character was, it sort of was nostalgic for everyone because you remembered that teacher
Yeah.
in school that you had a crush on. So
Yeah.
it was, you
Yeah.
sort of embodied that. And then of
All-
course there was that Kavali.
Oh, that, yeah.
Just the Kavali to beat all Kavalis, yeah.
Yeah, I should probably not say it on the record, but yeah, the whole team used to say that's Kavali on acid because it was just one of those completely over the top, psychedelic, and yet you remember these moments because you did something that was not done before.
True.
A different take on it, and that being Farah's first ever film blows
Yeah,
your mind because a
it does.
director to envision something like that in her very first film.
Right.
So anyway, I've been after her life as we completed so many years.
15 years. Just recently, yeah.
I've been after her life saying, now that's it. We have to do Main Hoon Na Returns. Come on, we got to do this. So she says, let's just go and get Shah Rukh to agree and let's do this. Because it really is time.
Right.
You cannot have a better franchise than that one.
True, true. It is actually one of my favorite of his films as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
Let's talk about Instagram. You have really come into your own. I feel like you're
Yes.
really enjoying Instagram.
Yes.
You have 4.1 million followers,
yeah.
but you're following no one.
Excellent. So a lot of people have asked me that, and I'd like to clarify why that is. I've never spoken about this before, and I would not speak about this typically. But first things first, I got on, I stopped giving interviews about 7-8 years ago, completely stopped, because it was being misquoted. When I was looking at the content, it wasn't sounding like me. People were going as per their needs, not the person I was, and I realized that I can't leave behind a legacy of someone I'm not.
Right.
Because I needed to be in the news.
Right.
So I said, I'll tell you me. And if you want to know anything about me, pick it up straight in my words,
Right.
with my smileys and the hearts, and I put a lot
And
of
the
them on.
stunning pictures.
And the stunning pictures, and you can put it up exactly as quoting me.
Yeah.
And it worked for me because it wasn't Instagram I thought of. I got onto Twitter first.
Twitter first, right.
And Twitter, we have a good 5.7 million
Yeah.
lives, and they're not a number for me. These are people that follow everything that we exchange between us very, very religiously. 2014, I finished shooting Nirbak, my Bengali film.
Yeah.
And I fell violently sick, and we could not figure out what had happened. And then an array of tests took place, and we discovered that after, of course, fainting finally and falling down and being rushed to the hospital, that there is a hormone in the body which is called cortisol. So my adrenal glands had stopped making it. So I was lucky to come out of that fainting spell because I had gone into an adrenal crisis. So the next thing after that would have been my organs packing up one by one. But for some reason, I came back from it and was declared steroid dependent for life, which means that I had to take a medicine called hydrocortisone, which is a steroid, every 8 hours to stay alive, because the body no longer made that. And needless to say, started the next 2 years of so much of trauma, because I'm in the public eye.
Yeah.
I am a former Miss Universe, supposed to be this very beautiful woman. And I have hair that's falling, and I'm looking at it every day. I have become moon-faced, and I have steroid deposits. So you have to understand, this is not steroids that you take to work out.
Yeah.
This is a completely different steroid that makes you put on weight.
Right.
You start to lose your bone density. You start to have very high blood pressure. I was very, very sick, and I was still a single mom with 2 kids who needed me in different ways immensely to be there. I just was really mad with everything going on around me. And then I kind of had this moment where I said, if you take my energy away from me, who am I? Because that's who I recognize myself with. So now if you go back in time between 2014 and 2016, you will see a very different Sushmita in all her public appearances. But it taught me a lot. During that time, I, of course, went to London to be treated. I went to Germany for being treated. And there is a test called the synactin test. They did that, and both times they declared me steroid dependent for life. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to live with steroids in my body, because I can see the side effects of this taking place already. I couldn't open my eyes because they had swollen up. My eyesight was getting weaker. It was just because I was doing 60 mg of steroids a day, which would go up to 100 mg if I was doing a press conference or a show. To accommodate energy, I had to keep upping it, and it was terrible. During this time, a thought crossed my mind. I said, if this does kill me, people would never know who I was. They would only have versions of this article, that story. So one night, I just got onto Instagram and opened that page. The reason I don't follow anybody on it is because that's not what I got onto it for. I got on and stayed true to it, that I will tell you my life with as much honesty as I have lived it, so that when you look back, you'll say, that is the Sushmita that I knew, not these other versions of her. So that's why I keep it and I share as much as possible. But yes, during those 2 years, I made a promise to myself. I'll go down fighting. I'm not going to go down with the patient, because you see, I was told by all the doctors possible that I had to change my profession, because the idea was the stress management mechanism was no longer working in the body. So if you're going to be an actor or you're going to be in the public eye, it's going to bother you that you're losing your hair. It's going to bother you that you're losing your face and your skin, and you're going to be putting on weight. So give it up. And I said, no, I won't give it up. I'm going to do it as much as I can and then be done when I'm done, you know? So the first thing I did is, the doctor said not to do any anti-gravity, because I had ACTH and cortisol, technical terms, connected with each other, so no blood rush to the brain. When they all gave me bad news, the first thing I did is call up my teacher, my trainer, and said, we start gymnastic rings. We get on anti-gravity. Because if they're telling me that this is the only thing I am not to do, I'm going to do it.
Exactly that,
I'm going to do it because I don't like who I'm becoming in the attempt to survive. This is not the best advice for all of you out there suffering from certain conditions. It's who my body needed to be. It's different. When you listen to your body, it's different. I went through detoxing, I went through everything possible that you can think of medically, but I introduced aerial silk, anti-gravity. And I went back to yoga. I started to discover everything in my body and listening to it. And in 2016 end, in October, I finally collapsed badly. And when I collapsed, I was rushed to Abu Dhabi because there was a Cleveland hospital there. And God bless a few people in my life who bent backwards during this time to take care of me. One of them is Yasin, who was in Abu Dhabi, Dubai. One was Rajeev Masand in India. Amazing people. They went out of their way. My teacher Nupur, his mom, who's my teacher as well, they went out of their way to look after me during that time. And I finished reaching Abu Dhabi. They took me off steroids, they hospitalized me, and they did the synactin test again. And then they released me from there to go back to Dubai. I was barely reaching Dubai. I was driving down, and the doctor, who's Turkish, calls up and says, Sushmita, have you taken the pill already? I go, no, doctor, I have to eat something, then I'll take it. you need to stop right now. I go, like cold turkey on steroids? That's a bad idea, no? Why should I stop again? So he goes, because your body is producing it. He says, in 35 years of my practice, somebody with an adrenal failure has never come back to producing cortisol again. It is, I cannot even believe that I've tested it 3 times because I didn't want to risk giving you this news without being sure. You need to go cold turkey. You're going to suffer withdrawals, obviously. But I prefer you suffer the withdrawals and subject your body to any more steroids.
You just beat it out of your system.
So well, of course, needless to say, I was stumped. Like, I waited for this moment to hear these very words, but when they finally happened, I didn't know how to react to it for a very long time. And then I stopped the steroids at that point, and from 2016 October up until 2018 August last year, I went through the worst withdrawal possible. Everything was affected deeply, so it was not good. But throughout, I went back to training vigorously. I've been blessed to have found doctors in India and abroad. Dr. Ansari, actually, I love the fact that I can take his name now. He's been my lifesaver here. And there have been people who've gone out of their way to get me back on my feet. Now that I am, I should possibly start following someone on Instagram, but that was my reason to get on Instagram. I'm so glad that it worked.
One only has to look at Instagram to see how happy and how in love you look with
being a mom and falling in love. 2 things I always scream about from the rooftop.
That's true, actually.
Because that's a thing of the heart, and of course it should not be concealed for any reason at all.
You know, I'm so glad you said that, because even when you were working more prolifically, when it was sort of, you know, when most actresses would not talk about their relationships, and I'm not saying that you were allowing people into your homes or your bedroom, but you were never shy of saying that you were in love or of acknowledging a relationship, which seems like the respectable thing to do.
Exactly, the word is respect. If you are doing something that you believe does not command that respect, don't do it.
Right.
You know, or I know that people have different reasons for it. We don't want it to become too public. People have too much to say then and do then. Well, people are going to talk.
Right.
But does that mean you stop living your life the best possible way or as honestly as you possibly can? Right. For me, that's a no.
Going back to Instagram,
clearly
in love, this handsome young man, Roman Scholl, he clearly makes you very happy. You're dancing on the streets of New York occasionally.
Yes, that's right.
You'll have these intense workout videos. You know, I feel like the couple that works out together is the couple that sort of
stays together.
But
have you seen him? He is ripped. So it's just great motivation. You want to work out? Yes, we really want to work out. Let's do this together. And it's nice that I found someone who doesn't disturb me time.
Right.
He adds to the me time.
Sure.
You know, so that in itself is love.
And he seems like he's really good with the girls. He's a very positive influence on the girls.
Yes, and you know, I think both ways. Lucky that they get along. Like my little one would often ask me, so what if I don't like your boyfriend? If I don't want you to get married to somebody? So I said, well, I would listen to that respectfully and then get married. So then, but I don't like them. Good, you don't have to marry them. I do, you know. But the one thing that you have to always remember is you don't have to like someone because I like them.
Sure.
You have the freedom to not like them. But you don't have, I have the same freedom to like them even if you don't.
Right.
Yeah. But to remember that when it comes to your well-being as my children, nobody gets in that way.
Right.
That's going to be my first priority. But will that mean me sacrificing my life to be your mom? That's not going to happen.
Right.
So, yeah, I've been pretty honest with them, always.
But where did you meet him? You know, how?
So everybody gets it wrong all the time.
Okay.
So we apparently met on some fashion show at some event. No, actually we didn't. It's a very, very beautiful serendipity story. He sent me a direct message on Instagram. And I didn't check direct messages because I wasn't sure if you check it, you may be allowing that person to start communicating with you.
Right.
So I had too many of these direct messages and I had not opened any. And there it was. I was touchscreen phone ki jai ho, because I had gone to the DM to look at what all had come, and I was doing this. And then this boy broke something in the room. So I, kya kar rahe beta, aapko kitne baar mana kiya? Like that, I went talking to him, and when I came back, I had obviously opened one of the DMs, and it was a message from him. And I was just like, oh my God, how did I do that? Oh God, I should never be talking when I'm near a phone.
But I want an honest answer. Was it the message, or was it the picture of the boy who sent the message that made you reply? Or
you didn't even have to say honest. The first thing I did is read that message, and it was a message from a very compassionate, warm person who wrote in the most simplest of and you have to understand the serendipity of it first, that it's a person who's written that to me possibly a few weeks ago or something, and it's or a few days ago, and so he obviously has not any expectations of that opening or anything. But he just wanted to say something. He said it very respectfully. So I open it and I go, oh, who's this person? Very sweet. And then I open his account and I go see it, and I obviously look at the person and say, yeah, the face matches this voice. That person is, I would imagine it. So I come back and I say, well, thank you so much. Your message made my day. I wish you all the happiness in the world or something. Take care, bye-bye. Went back to my thing, started packing. I was leaving for the US. When I was en route to the US, I opened this up and I see a message back. I am jumping from one room to another. I cannot believe you responded. And again, this message was all heart. It was a person who was not trying to pretend. These kind of people get through to me like that, because I am like that. Just very honest and straightforward. And I said, there, you made me smile again. And that was it. I took off to the US, was gone for a month. We were not in touch, nothing. And he was very polite. I'd get to know later that he was worried that he may look overbearing if he kept on messaging, so he didn't. And then I got to know him slowly when I came back. And that too, it was an open offer to come play football with him. He's an excellent footballer.
Nice.
Plays the game very, very well. So he said, come watch me play. I said, yeah, that sounds like a plan. But I don't think I can come watch you play. This will be not something that will be fun. Rather, let's have coffee.
Nice.
At least we can have a conversation. And it was it. When I met this person, I just felt like I'd known him my whole life. It was that simple.
How long have you been together?
We've been together now almost as good as giving birth, 9 months exactly.
Wow. Do you see this going somewhere serious? I feel like that's not even a fair question, because it'll happen when and if and when.
Yeah, the way it happened to begin with was so organic and so beautiful. You didn't plan it.
Right.
It just happened. And if one thing life has taught me, Rajeev, is you can only be sure of this moment.
Right.
Not the next or thereafters. I have never been a person who likes the idea of owning anything. My relationships, my things, my anything. I like managing them, because one day we're all going to be done and dusted, and you're not going to be owning jack when you leave, So the idea, the illusion of owning it is terrible. I like giving people their freedom, and I sure as hell need them to give me mine. And so if I get married at any point, it will be because I really want to commit to the idea of forever.
Right.
And I'm not ready for that yet. I am only ready to commit to the idea of forever when I can not trust the other person.
Right.
It's when I trust me with that idea, and not because I'm interested in other people or I'm flamboyant that I may not be able to honor a decision. Not at all. My 20 years as mother would tell you I'm very good at honoring a commitment, but I don't make them easily.
But he makes you happy.
Very, touch wood, very much. And I am so in love with him, with the person he is, the man he is. He's my best friend. So yes, that is true.
You realize a lot of girls are going to check their DMs now to make sure they're not missing a message from someone who could be potential.
Yeah, and that's the thing, girls. Let the magic happen. Don't plan it. because when you plan it, you attract the wrong crowd. You want the right one, he will come. You've got to believe he will come. And if he doesn't, it's not time yet. Simple.
True.
It'll happen.
The happiness that you bring into people's lives, and I want the opportunity to say here that I've observed it. You know, there's this little incident, you probably don't know about it. I once saw you at an airport. I saw you I saw you at an airport, and I saw someone come to you for a selfie.
Yeah.
With you, selfies are never just selfies. It becomes a whole sort of conversation.
Yeah.
So you were really lovely. You took the picture, but you asked her name. You asked what she did. You kind of, you know, and you remembered the name. A few minutes later, you inquired about her. No one's used to that. And I know it's a very small thing, but it makes a huge difference in people's lives. And I've seen the way that you are with people. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that I only know of 2 other people like that who, when you're with them, whoever you are, I think that you make them feel like they're the most important people in the world in that moment. There's Shah Rukh Khan.
Of course, I second that.
When you're with him, you are, full attention is on that person.
Yeah.
You guys give just, you know, you give completely. And the other person, and I'm not dropping names here, is Tom Cruise. I've only met him briefly.
Definitely dropping names.
I've only met him briefly, thrice, but all 3 times I came away thinking, my God, I must be really...
Yes,
you know,
both their reputations precede them.
It's a gift. I feel like it's a gift. Are you just naturally curious? Are you just you just have so much love? You have these it's like this endless stream of love.
Yeah, I think I've survived so much because of it, you know, because I can't begin to tell you, Rajeev. Of course, I'm somebody who loves people, always have loved them.
Yeah.
Like, it's the greatest high at 18 to win the Miss Universe competition was, now I can walk into anyone's house in India and they'll give me tea, coffee, biscuit, and I would be belonging.
Right.
That sense of being closer to people made me happy always. The same feeling happened when I got a hit and I said, now the truck drivers even know me, you know, like now I know more people know me. So my calling's been different. But as I was telling you about those 2 years that went by, you know, people randomly write. They didn't know about all this going on in my life. They would write, you know, you've inspired me since I was a 6-year-old kid. I was here struggling with that and you inspired me with this. I love the strength that's in you. You have no idea, Rajeev, that when I was vulnerable and when I was feeling like my life was over, people unknowingly inspired me to get back on my feet.
You found strength in that?
Oh my God, like you will not believe, it's like a mirror. Those messages that they were sending me, they had no idea. They were telling me at a time when I would read it and say, if they believe this to be me, how dare I give up? You know, so many people have stories of decisions in my life or things I said influencing theirs. It's about time I listened to them.
Right.
And that's what I did. I kind of just used all of that energy and said, let's hang that aerial silk. Nothing bad can come of it because I have so much of goodwill. I have so much of love that only good can come out of this. I didn't know how, but I did it. Yes. So I want to give back. Every time I meet people, I can't thank everybody. I can't tell everybody everything. So there are bad days. There are days when I'm just exhausted or irritable, but I don't want the person meeting me for 2 minutes at that airport to carry that baggage.
Right.
I want them to meet me and say, she was everything I imagined her to be. That's it. And I was the happiest moment meeting her. And if that means you have to just pull your energies back and say, okay, you're having a bad day. Don't make it his problem.
Right.
You know, so just smile and give him that picture. I do that. It's a conscious decision.
That is such a lovely thought. That is really such a, I think that is what makes you who you are, special in the way that you are. 25 years in the public eye. It really feels like it went by in a flash.
I still feel 18. I don't know what they're talking about.
And there is a movie career that is going to continue. Clearly, your
oh, I can promise you there I'm not done yet.
Lovely.
And let's just get down to redefining what is being done.
Right.
Because we've gone past that idea of by 25 you are done.
Correct.
No. At 43 we begin again.
Sushmita Sen, thank you so much for bringing so much happiness in our lives.
No, I love you. Thank you so much for this chance. chance to meeting again.
Thank you.
Because
No, you indeed
please don't
are
wait
a
another
woman we
25
love.
years.
No, no. You are indeed a woman we love. I really think that, you know, the show is meant to be about.
And here is a man with very good taste.
That's true. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the memories. Thank you for opening your heart, for really being who you are. You've not changed one bit.
No,
we met after a long time, but I feel like.
Thank you for being such a brilliant interlocutor. You are amazing.
The love is entirely mutual. Thank you so much.
Love
Thank you. Thank you.